Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 344. It takes a village to resolve a ticket, recorded for Friday, September 28th, 2025. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Tyler Colt.
I'm Greg Belnap, and let's get right on into the show.
All right, let us do it. I love that shirt. For our listeners who aren't watching on YouTube, Greg is looking good today. He's got the nice trimmed beard. He's got the button-down shirt. I'm just here in an old Zenatta green t-shirt, and I'm feeling a little bit lacking, to say the least.
Yeah, for our audio listeners, it's got a bunch of sharks on it, which is fun because I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to go on a cruise next week, so I'm going to be living it up in the Bahamas for a week.
You're hoping for sharks, or are you just trying to get them out of the way before you go? Okay.
Oh, I would love to see sharks. If I'm in the boat and there's sharks in the water, that's fun. As long as I'm not in the water. Yes. I mean, heck, well, actually, if it's okay if I'm in the water and they're on the boat, I'm also okay with that.
Technically fine. Yes. Technically
that also works.
All right. So with that, we do have a busy week. We're going to jump on in. But first, a quick word from our sponsor.
Who is Zenatta? We are the #1 Zoho premium partner in the Americas, consisting of a diverse team of 25 plus employees who are experts in over 45 plus Zoho applications, including CRM, projects, desk, campaigns, analytics, sales IQ, books, inventory, and more. Our team of experts also specializes in custom creator applications, custom web and marketing solutions, and the Zoho Finance Suite. But most importantly, we understand how all of this ties into our clients' business needs. We have over 1,000 plus clients across dozens of industries, ranging from a few employees to thousands, with over 5 new clients onboarded every week. And boy, do these clients love what we did for them. So whether you're just getting started with Zoho or need to optimize your existing setup, our team is here to help. Ready to unlock Zoho's full potential? Book a meeting with our experts today at Zenatta.com and let's build a system that works for you.
All right, couple initial news announcements. So like we mentioned last week, Zoholics is coming up soon. Make sure to register for that. It's going to be in Houston here. Sign up using code Zenatta20 and you get 20% off. Why not? It's a discount. We always love those. So just make sure to enter that. This is going to be coming up in May, from May 13th to 15th out in Houston. So get your hotels, get your tickets, use your promo code. It's only going to work on the tickets, not the hotel. I wish we had hotel discounts. We're not that big. Also, for those who are Zoho nerds and want to put their skills to use at what I think is the best Zoho partner, us, head on over to careers.zenatta.com. Make sure to apply there for consulting roles, development roles. Little pro tip, everybody's kind of has to be a developer, so you're going to get asked some Deluge questions either way. But I promise you, it's a pretty good place to work, and we do some really cool stuff with Zoho. So if you are a nerd like we are, head on over there and apply. All right, with that, we can now jump into the proper news segment here. So first one on the list is from the world of Zoho projects. It's kind of a nerdy update because it does center around new APIs. Projects is one of those apps that kind of needs some new APIs. This is not kind of like the rebuild that you might be hoping for, but it is a lot of good updates. So you're now able to interact with blueprints, able to interact with attachments. This is actually a big one. There's a lot of times where you might want to launch a project from CRM and include the scope of work, right? Or the original quote or whatever it may be. You can now drop that in as an attachment. Able to interact with leaves, which is almost it's kind of like a sync from the people side. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Profiles and roles getting support, clients getting support. That's really nice. So associating a client with a project, thank goodness. You really need to be able to do that. And then some additional module metadata. I'm really excited about this. Greg, I know on your side, you probably have a couple that are standing out for you. What sticks out here on this list?
Well, big one for me is the filter with or condition. If you scroll down a little bit, for our YouTube viewers, when you're searching for certain records, you're putting in, a query. Now you can specify an or filter, which is that really opens up the different criteria that you can set up. So you could set, it should be, I want to get a list of tasks that are in progress, and the type is this or this, right? Couldn't do something like that before, right? So now you can.
Cool. So you basically then you add your criteria where you're saying, hey, my criteria ID is 1, and then you're adding your pattern of like 1 or 2. So hypothetically, then you could do like 1 or 2 and 3. Right? Like kind of create your little logical statements there. That's really slick because a lot of the times I find myself creating reference data sets in analytics to do those statements and then pulling from those, but not everybody has analytics. So now you'll be able to do this natively, which is really nice.
Yeah, really good. I also love that they say, okay, make sure I see where they put it. Oh, yes. So number 4 on this list is custom fields with API names. Custom fields supporting API names for easier identification. That is huge because I think before, for custom fields in projects, you had to get every custom field had like a secret little code name for it that you had to make a separate API call to get the code name for your field. And it was something like UDF char 1, UDF date 3, just real roll off the tongue type things. But now they're switching to what every other Zoho app is using for custom fields, which is an API name for it. Something like CF underscore, custom type, whatever it's going to be.
Nice.
Yeah, those are the one thing that is still missing from here. I was taking a look through all the documentation. The one thing that is still missing, and Zoho, if you're listening, is bulk operations. Being able to create more than one task at a time. It's so common that whenever we're creating or updating tasks, things like that, it's hardly ever truly just one task at a time. So many clients need, bulk options available to them. Like, we need to create 20 tasks all at the same time, or we need to update like the owner of 40 different tasks all at once because of maybe somebody's changed a position or just the natural progress or flow of that a project needs to take. So please get us those bulk operations.
Well, it feels like a win-win too, because if they let us do bulk, we'll use it, which my understanding is for their servers and infrastructure, doing 10 tasks being created in a bulk is better for them than 10 individual calls. So it's like win-win.
Absolutely.
We'll use the efficient one if you make it for us. We'd rather save you some compute. Makes everybody's life a little bit easier. Next update here comes from the world of Zoho Desk. So those who listen regularly will know a couple weeks back, maybe a month back, we talked about parent-child ticketing inside of Zoho Desk. This is really nice, especially for companies that might sell like certain types of products, right? Where, okay, there's an issue with a firmware update. You get 50 tickets from 50 customers saying, hey, I have an issue with this. You might want to create a parent ticket and then link all of those to it. Now what you can do is do more updates and information to those child tickets while you're working with the parent ticket. So perfect example, I go to my parent ticket once that issue is resolved, and I can send out a mass reply to all the child tickets saying this issue is resolved, right? So like step 1 for Zoho was like make parent-child tickets. Now you'll be able to use parent-child tickets, kind of in the ways that you would think about using them. Again, not everybody needs this, but especially for those people who work in anything software related where there's a bug that affects a lot of people and you want to be able to just mass handle all of those tickets, this is a really, really nice update here.
Yeah. My one critique for them would be that they refer to that if you're on a child ticket, you can see what are the other child tickets that would be related to that same parent, right? They call them peer child tickets. They're siblings.
Siblings, yeah, it's got to be siblings.
Yeah, they're sibling tickets. If I'm a child ticket and another ticket is a child ticket and we have the same parent, you're siblings. I don't say, oh yes, there's my peer child brother.
I love that. Zoho, yeah, get on it. This is the most important thing on your list. You gotta rename those. But yeah, these are nice. So essentially be able to mass disassociate, mass add, mass assign them, update fields, send replies, close them out, apply macros, update a resolution. Again, so really like most things that you may do to an individual child ticket, you can now just do to multiple at once. I love to see that. Again, not everybody needs it. For those who do, beautiful update. Going to save people a lot of time. So now here next up is an update from Zoho Publish. This is an app we don't talk about a lot, but I actually think it's pretty cool. It's a cool little app. So what this does, included with Zoho One, is essentially publish your brand or your company to listing platforms. So that's things like Google My Business and a handful of other ones that Greg and I had never heard of, but really it's Google My Business. That's probably where you want this to go. I really like this because it's a centralized place to manage all of those. If you're like a local business, right? Like I'll tell you when I need like a home service provider, I look at Google Maps. That's how I find a lot of them because Yelp has just become more and more unusable for me. And so this is publishing you onto that page, right? So what they've done here is essentially introduce reports. So these are summary data kind of grouped into different buckets, whether it's overall, kind of your performance, whether it's single or multi-business, giving you some data on sentiment of reviews waiting responses, words or phrases that people are using to find your business. Big highlight for this one, this is really juicy SEO data, right? You want to know if there's a certain word or key term that people are searching, which then leads them to your business because you might re-optimize your marketing around that. So really nice little tool here. I think for a lot of local businesses, right? Like I have an arborist coming later today because I have this massive tree in my front yard that needs some trimming, right? Like perfect use case for Zoho Publish. They've added a ton of these, kind of helping you manage replying to reviews and gathering a lot of that data. So we thought we would just highlight this one as we don't talk about this app that much, but I do actually think it's kind of a cool one that a lot of people might benefit from.
Yeah. One, I do need to make one correction, which is that this is not included in Zoho One.
Oh, it's not. Oh, I thought it was.
Or at least like I just went and checked in my my nonprofit's account for that we have Zoho One, and Zoho Publish is not. You could upgrade to have a $100 per location per year, but does not seem like it's in the one bundle.
Got it. Okay. I thought it was. Maybe it's one you got to email them and ask for it or something, but yeah, maybe I'm just mistaken. Either way, definitely worth a look if you are a little more local business who might benefit from a Google Maps or Google My Business listing. Next one here comes from the world of Deluge specifically. We don't get too many updates from the Deluge blog, but this is a really nice one. So they have rolled out a pre-built AWS connection for Deluge. So for those who write a lot of code or even write any code that involves third-party applications, you will know that some apps are supported in this little connections menu. And when they're supported in the connections menu, you should be happy because it makes life a lot easier for making that OAuth connection to send data. I am someone who I've written a lot of code in my life. I still have to bang my head in the keyboard to set up OAuth from scratch with the client secret, the refresh token, the access token. I can do it, but I don't like doing it. It makes me really happy when there's just an existing connection. So now AWS is going to be supported for that. Obviously, AWS, Amazon Web Services. There are a ton of clients who have buckets of data that are sitting in here, whether it's a software company who built a custom app out there, whether it's just a company that says, hey, we've got a mothership database that's independent of any software tools that we use, that we just own, right? All good use cases for AWS. So now you can just add it as a connection. You have to enter a couple little parameters and things like that. But then rather than setting up a custom OAuth in your code, you can just reference this connection. So life becomes a whole lot easier. You'll still need to go in and find your access and secret key, but you won't need to write the code to regenerate the refresh and access tokens, I think are what they're called. I always forget and I have to Google it every time. But this is a beautiful thing.
Well, the AWS connection, you are going to have to go in and create what in the connections page is referred to as a custom service, and it actually is not an OAuth connection. It's Amazon's own authentication method, just called AWS Signature. So you go in to create a custom service, and under the type you can pick. So like when you create a custom service, you can say, all right, I want to make an API key connection. I want to make an OAuth 1 connection, an OAuth 2 connection. OAuth 2 is kind of the industry standard for most of the application world, but Amazon is like, nah, dog, we got to do something a little bit different. So they have this thing called AWS Signature that now Zoho is supporting.
Shiny authentication, a little bit different and a little bit rarer.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct. So you do have to go into the custom services first, make it, but now it's an authentication type that you can now enable.
Very, very nice. That will save me, if I ever have to do this, quite a lot of time. So with that, I think we're all wrapped on news for this week. So let's jump right on into our code share of the week. All right. So as always, over on club.zenatta.com, that's where we host all these code shares, just our free forum for Zoho nerds by Zoho nerds, where we do all of this. We take questions, we answer questions as well. So this one comes from JP on the Zenatta team. This is sending Zoho CRM email templates with record attachments using Deluge. I really like this one. So this is using the API endpoint that allows you to send an email template. So you don't have to like create the email in the Deluge code. But Greg, maybe you want to walk us through kind of the approach here and some of the reasons we like it.
Yeah. So you can already put attachments on an email template in the CRM without using any code. However, the attachments that you're putting on are static, right? It's like if there's let's say I have an email that goes out that has some kind of like promotional flyer or maybe like a handbook or user manual, something like that, that is always going to be the same no matter who I'm sending the email to. That you can do without code. But if you are, say, trying to, but if you have record attachments that are, different for every record, like a proposal for each different client that you're making a deal with, then you can use this code to essentially grab all of those attachments, and then you can grab that email template via API and then plug those attachments onto that template before you send it out. So essentially what JP is doing here is you grab the related records. The attachments are a related list. Each of them has a file ID that corresponds to where they sit in the, nebulous Zoho file system, or ZFS, as they call it in their docs.
The cloud.
Yes, the cloud. Then you can put it inside of a list on the email parameters map. And for anybody who has already dipped their toes in Deluge, this send mail task, this is different than the built-in send mail task in Deluge that just kind of uses the Deluge servers. This is actually hitting an API endpoint for the CRM to send one of the email templates. And so you attach it to a specific record in a specific module, and you can't. You don't have to use a template. If you wanted to write the email in here, you could. But obviously,
Probably
most people are going to
shouldn't.
want to use this.
Highlight, you
Probably
probably
shouldn't.
shouldn't, right? Try to use
Yeah,
a
yeah.
template.
You should use a template because it'll have all the merge tags and everything like that, information in there. But yeah, so slightly different than the send mail task. This uses an actual API endpoint.
Got it. Very nice. And then one of the nice things I do appreciate here is that he kind of error proofs this attachment thing just in case you didn't have one, it would still proceed. Yep. If you wanted to not proceed, you just need to adjust the code a little and say like, hey, only continue if the size of this list is greater than 0. But yeah, really nice little flow here. Always important just to make sure as well that your template ID is matching the module. Templates are module specific. So even if you had like the same email and you may sometimes send it to a lead, sometimes to a deal, I don't know why you're doing that. But if you are, then make sure that you're assigning those template IDs appropriately, just to make sure that it properly sends. Good opportunity here. Make sure you've got some type of notification for yourself if this doesn't go out for any type of reason or error, just so that you can then go and send it manually, and that you don't lose a deal just for lack of following up. All right. So with that, I think we're ready to jump over to Zenatta.com and check out our read of the week. All right. This one is a little bit self-serving as we are doing a bit of a hiring push right now. This is making a career out of Zoho. This is actually something I have strong opinions on. I think that the whole space of like CRM and application configuration and adoption and training it's a bit undermarketed. Like when I was back in college, like this was never like a thing that was discussed. It was like, so I went through an MBA program. It's like, oh, go into finance, go into marketing, go into accounting. Like, what about revenue operations, which is kind of the little umbrella that we find ourselves in? Where you're in these, low code or partial code environments. So it's a little technical, it's a little business, it's a little analytics and data. I've obviously got strong opinions. I think you should consider a career in Zoho or similar platforms. One of the biggest reasons, honestly, there just aren't that many people in this space. With some of the more developed applications like Salesforce, they have really robust training and hiring and kind of placement programs. Zoho is not quite that way. So if you are a self-motivated person who can jump in, find some resources, get your hands dirty and learn it, like there is a lot of potential in these spaces. Another pro, almost all the jobs in these spaces are going to be remote, which I know is something that a lot of people want. It's remote here at Zenatta. So yeah, definitely check this out. Wayne does a good job kind of highlighting some of the different types of roles, some of the different types of knowledge and departments where you might be able to add value. He also links in some great places to get knowledge. I mean, Workflow Academy, we love those guys over there. They do great free training courses. If you're in St. George, Utah, you can even join their boot camp. That is in person, but the rest of their trainings are online and for free. Greg is actually one of the original alumni of Workflow Academy. Alumnus, sorry, singular.
Thank you. Thank you for properly conjugating your Latin terms.
Yep, I try. But yeah, so I mean, honestly, I think number 4 is one of the biggest ones. Get your hands dirty, right? Like go get a trial account, come up with something you want to build, like a button that sends a proposal, and bang your head into the keyboard until it does it, right? Like that is, at the end of the day, the best way to learn. So yeah, I like this a lot. I like this article. Shout out to Wayne. I think this is just an underserved market, and it shows every time that we go to hire. We have some good candidates this round. That's awesome, but we always want more, and it never seems like there's quite enough good talent to go around. So definitely consider it, whether it's Zoho. I even will give credence to some of the enemies, like this whole space, the CRM space, just a good place to be. And it is something that you should consider if you have some of these skills.
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea that this world existed until I was introduced to Zenatta. And yeah, it's
like, wait a second, this can be my job.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's what's really nice is that it is a like sector that you can do like a lot of. You can give a lot of help to a lot of different like types of businesses. That's one of the things that's so fun about working in this sphere, is that we have worked with so many different types of business, things that I didn't even know could be a business. And sure enough, here they are. So it's just it's a really interesting space to work in, and I would encourage it as well.
Awesome. So check that out over on Zenatta.com on the blogs, and definitely consider, again, if you feel like you're a fit, just head on over to our careers page and apply. We'd love to talk. Alrighty, last but not least here, we're going to jump into our tip of the week. All righty. So this week we've got a new contributor. I am not recording this tip. This was recorded by Maya on our team, and this is all about advanced CRM workflow rules. She goes in deep on this. I will tell you, with Maya's tutorials, she gets a little more nitty gritty than I do, and I think it's great. Very detailed, very specific walkthrough, setting up lead assignment, some follow-ups, as well as deal reminders. She also kind of does some overview around just like different trigger criteria, like triggering on score, which we normally don't talk that much about. Also goes into the lead flow around setting up follow-ups, right? So if we were to update them to a nurture status, maybe we want to drip out a few emails. She even shows creating those email templates. And then lastly, setting up some reminders for deals that might be stalling out, right? Like one of the biggest reasons for using a CRM is decreasing what we call pipeline churn, right? So like a deal that hasn't been touched in a couple days that's in certain stages might be at risk of kind of just drifting away. Maybe you don't close it. So setting up these types of reminders is one of those things that can actually really affect your business in a positive way, and try to prevent this type of stuff from happening in the first place. So head on over there, show her some love. She's excited to chip in on the content here. Like I've been mentioning, we're only going to be making more. And now I've got a whole extra person on this. So go on over to this video, show her some love, leave a comment, any feedback as well. We always love. And as always, over on youtube.com/Zenatta is where you're going to find all of the videos, whether it's the podcast, the tip videos, the news coverage. We're really just going to be cranking it out this year. So head on over there and check it out if you haven't already. I know I'm preaching to the converted. Most of our listeners here are very likely well aware. But for those who are not, this is the place to go to get all of your Zoho news, updates, tutorials, and assorted goodies. So I think with that, we are ready to jump on into our question of the week. All right, bringing back the good old Azaz branding. Ask Zenatta anything about Zoho. This is a question from Chase, longtime contributor over in Club Zenatta. Shout out to you. I've been seeing your name for a while. So is it worth it to attend Zoholics for more of a standard user level admin? I'm learning my way around Zoho much more, but was curious if attending the conference is worth it at that level, or if it's really more intended for developers and partners. So really good question. Again, some of this comes down to opinion. My opinion is yes, it is worth it. Reason being, so Zoholics has a few major components. One is like big product announcements, right? Realistically, it's cool to be there for those, but you'll hear about them in the news. You'll hear about them on the show, right? You get those other ways. One of the big reasons that you really may want to go to Zoholics is to meet a lot of other Zoho people, whether those are partners, whether those are other customers, whether those are Zoho product managers, support team members. I mean, they have like hands-on sessions. It's like open up your laptop, go to a table with a Zoho expert, and they'll like teach you something for free, right? So there are a lot of those types of opportunities there. I even know like at last Zoholics, a couple of Zenatta customers got together and were just, shooting the breeze about Zoho, exchanging what they've been working on, like kind of sharing ideas. So it can be really cool from that perspective. Being honest, I don't think it's like a must attend. I think that it's really valuable, and like, if it makes sense within like your budget, right, to go, I'd strongly recommend it. But you will still be able to get all the news, all the updates following the event. But I do think some of those hands-on times with either a partner that you're working with, some Zoho experts, the Zoho team, other clients who just like to share information and ideas. I do think there's quite a lot of value in going.
Yeah, well, and the way that, like, he says, standard user level admin, like if you have a sales team, and or you have like maybe you have like a sales manager, who runs your sales team. Maybe you can get away with just sending just your sales manager to go and kind of check things out. Who can then disseminate. You don't necessarily need all of your like ground level workers going to Zoholics. No, but your managers, those that you want to be able like to train up other employees, it definitely worth, because a lot of times there's features or things like that you just never would have found otherwise until they highlighted at the convention.
Yep, absolutely. And as always, just one more reminder, I have to do it, otherwise Freddie's going to give me a hard time. If you do sign up, make sure to use code Zenatta20. Get 20% off, save yourself a little bit of money. Why not?
Why not?
All right. With that, I think we're ready to wrap up here for the week. As always, if you want to get in touch with us over here at Zenatta, just head on over to zenatta.com, click on book a meeting. We'll be talking in no time. On the website is also where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to also subscribe to our newsletter.
If you want the code share that we went over today, head to club.zenatta.com and join our community there, where you'll be able to geek out with lots of other Zoho nerds. And if you want to get your team trained up on the core Zoho apps in less than a week, head over to zenatta.com/training.
And last but not least, we always appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday. Podcast app.
Tell you what, the parent-child ticketing one, you talked about mass disassociation. Oh man, I feel like I'm doing that every day.
Good Lord. Have a good weekend, everybody.